Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Around the Coliseum. We're going to sit down and I will be joined shortly by the legendary biggest manager in wrestling, the history of wrestling. This man's been active for over 5 decades. I'll be joined by Stepstool Tommy D.
Johnny Aman, did you say shortly? Are you calling me short? Is that what's going on here?
No, I did not mean to offend you, sir. Thank you for joining me. Here at Empire, you are currently managing International Fight Club.
Absolutely.
How's that going for you?
It's going really well. Really well. International Fight Club, we're all MMA fighters, and it fits perfectly. These are young guys, and they hired me to train these guys, to learn the business, because I've been in the business so long, and I think it's working out really well. And I'm enjoying it too.
It was a smart move for these young people to do. Because like I said, 5 decades in the business. Started back in 1989.
Yes, sir.
What are some the goals for you in International Fight Club right now?
Our goals tonight are to get through this match, because I'm wrestling in the 6-man against some big guys. And my rookies are learning. They're learning a lot. And they're going to learn tonight how to work as a team against bigger guys. So.
And what a manager to show them how to do that other than you. Like, who else could be better fit, you know?
You think? Everybody thinks I'm just a manager. That's the whole thing, Johnny. But I was trained by Mondo Guerrero in 1989 as a wrestler. Okay? And in the last several months, I've done a few 6-man tags with 7-footers, and these guys are what, 6'4", 300 pounds? I've been in the business a long time. It doesn't matter how big they are. I've been there. I'm only 5'2", and I carry a step stool. That's it. How do you think it's going to happen tonight?
I mean, coming from being trained by Mondo Guerrero.
You were trained by Mondo Guerrero?
No. You were trained by Mondo. I'm sorry. Since you were trained by Mondo Guerrero, maybe I expect a 619 Texas Cloverleaf, a Gory Bomb. Can we expect those?
Do you think? You think something like that?
I think you got
it. Well, Mondo was an awesome trainer, and you know, the Guerrero family, the whole Guerrero family was in the wrestling business, from Dad Gory Guerrero to Hector, Chavo, Mondo, Eddie, and Chavo Jr. And so it's a unbelievable wrestling family that I was trained by. And I was very lucky to do that.
Shaw Guerrero, Eddie's daughter, was even in the business for a little bit.
Yeah.
Now she's doing burlesque dancing, which I've actually got to watch her do a couple of times.
Entertainment is entertainment at this point.
So, entertainment is entertainment. You're not just a wrestler. You said you did MMA.
Yes.
But you started off early in the entertainment industry.
I did.
You want to tell the fans what that was, or do you want me to tell them?
Well, I don't know if the fans even care about anything like that. Do you, fans? I don't know. But
they better care. I'm wasting my time.
I've been in the entertainment business for 50 years. Let's get out of my character a little bit, and we'll talk for real.
All right.
Okay. Stepstool Tommy D is a gimmick, is a character I created 30 years ago. And it worked 30 years ago, and it's new and improved now at the age of 57 years old. I'm a professional athlete at 57 years old. That's unheard of.
So yes, you're looking at Stepstool Tommy D 2.0.
2.0. That's about my height too.
So you trained, I'm not going to give that year because that also makes me feel old, because it was the year after I was born.
1989, you were born in 90? No
after,
kidding.
So I was born in 88.
Oh, okay, gotcha. 88, yeah.
You-
I was 21 years old when I was trained by Mondo Guerrero in 1989. And now I'm 57, 36 years later, and still doing this. That's how long I've been in this business.
And it's amazing that you've been in this business that long, and just some of the people you've rubbed shoulders with in this business.
Yeah, I was very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. So many legends that I grew up watching these guys, and then I got to work with them, and I got to wrestle with them, and I got to manage them, and wow, what a career! What a career! Very, very lucky. I'm lucky.
What was some of your earliest memories of wrestling then? I mean,
Gosh, my family loved wrestling, and I'll tell you what, I don't know a lot about my grandfather, but because he died a year before I was born. But I've been told, and I didn't know this till after probably 20, 25 years in the business, that my grandfather was a manager in wrestling in Chicago, where I grew up. And I've looked for history on him, and I can't find much history, but I was told that. And so my dad loved wrestling, my family loved wrestling, and we watched it ever since I was a kid. So I give the credit to my dad who continued. Even when I was a teenager and had other stuff, sports and everything, and I was too busy, my dad continued to watch wrestling. And I give him all the credit. God rest his soul. Miss you, Dad.
So you got to see the AWA back in its glory.
I grew up in the AWA.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. One of the best times ever. And I started off in Chicago, and then we moved to Las Vegas when I was 15, almost 16. I finished school out there. And then the AWA came out there. So every single month at the Showboat, which doesn't exist anymore, Las Vegas, and we miss it, AWA was jam-packed every single month, and I got to see everybody. Everybody that you guys saw in WWE as superstars were taken from AWA.
I mean, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Kurt Hennig, Road Warrior Hawk, Road Warrior Animal.
God. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. I even got to see, and this is the early days before Hulk Hogan was in WWE, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, back then. Okay, Andre was a household name. Hulk was not a household name at that point, and he was in AWA before he went to WWE and became a superstar.
Did Hogan slam Andre that night?
No,
Do you remember?
He did not, and it was a battle royal, so everybody was in it. Everybody was in it, and so it was awesome memories. And this was probably the early 80s, 1980s. He wasn't born until 88. Oh my God.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, to live back then for that wrestling era would have been amazing.
It was.
And we talked off camera.
We
Kind of
did.
always get a little bit more info about who I'm talking with. You have managed Honky Tonk Man, another massive name from that time period.
Yeah, what a great guy. Great guy. I give him almost all of the credit of teaching me the psychology of the business, okay? Wrestling school is one thing, to learn how to wrestle. Teaching the psychology of the business takes years and years and years and years, okay? Wrestling does too, but wrestling is actually the easy part. It's the psychology of the business and the business of the business, okay? And you can't learn that in wrestling school. So it takes years of practice. Honky Tonk Man, whose name is Wayne Ferris, was a great influence on me, and I got to work with him for so many years, and he taught me everything. I mean, stuff that has never been taught by anybody. And I give him all the credit in the world for that, because you just can't teach that. You can't learn it in wrestling school.
Yeah, and it's always great to learn from people like that. And
Yeah.
it's great that you're passing on your knowledge to some of these younger people.
Right.
And
These guys did it for me, and now I want to do it for everybody else. Everybody else who's interested and wants to listen, I'll tell them for free. You know, I'm here to help. At the same time, I'm here to entertain, perform, but I'm here to help these young guys at the same time.
Now, while you were with Honky Tonk Man, you had a match you were involved with a match with Jake the Snake, right?
Oh yeah, we did tours. We did several tours, and it was Honky Tonk, me and Honky Tonk Man, me managing Honky Tonk Man against Jake the Snake, and I remember the first show. They had that snake, that big snake, and Honky said, "I ain't taking no snake." And he said, "Tom, you're taking a snake. You're the manager." And I'm like, I hate snakes. I hate snakes. So, but I did it, and I did it a bunch of times, and that's wrestling business. You got to do it.
Was that before or after the Cobra bit Randy?
Let's see, what year was that? On the Cobra. It was after. It was after. Jake had just left WWE, and we were all on tour together. Me, Honky, Jake, and Honky wrestled Jake quite a bit, and we went all over the place.
Did you ever get to hear Jake tell the story about the Cobra and biting?
Yes, and Macho Man.
Yes,
Macho Man. You better get that snake, and you better have him bite you to make sure that it don't kill me. I want to see it bite you. Absolutely. Yes. Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite stories to listen to from Jake.
Let me tell you a story about the first time I worked with Jake, with Honky. I don't know if you see some of my old stuff. I have fake jewelry on. Okay, that day I had my real jewelry on, my real gold necklace, my real golden wedding ring. Okay, so Jake gave me the DDT in the middle of the ring. Then he proceeded to take my ring, my real wedding ring, and my gold necklace that was real, and so after I came to from the DDT and went back to the locker room, I said, "Okay, guys, where's Jake?" And they said, "Jake isn't here." I said, "What do you mean he isn't here? He's on to the next town," because we were doing the tour. And I think we had 2 or 3 shows that day, and this in one day. And and I said, "Okay, so where's my jewelry?" And they go, "What jewelry?" And I'm like, "Really? He didn't give you guys my jewelry?" And I'm thinking, oh no, that's my wedding ring, and my gold necklace. My real gold necklace, my real, what am I going to tell my wife on the ring, right?
Right.
And they held out the whole time, and I was getting upset because nobody knew nothing. Turned out it was a rib, which is a joke. A rib in wrestling is a joke, a locker room joke, and Jake took the stuff and he gave it to one of the guys and told him not to tell anybody and don't let me know, and play the rib out. And they played it out the whole show. I was worried. What am I going to tell my wife, about my wedding ring?
If I was them, they should have played it out until the next show. Let's see how you confronted Jake.
Yeah.
Have you played any ribs on people?
Not a little bit, but not to that extent, of that. I mean, we'll rib. When it's your birthday in the locker room, and you come up to me and you tell me it's your birthday, you get a chop. All right? Not just from me, from everybody. All right? So don't tell an old school guy it's your birthday in the locker room, because then there's a chop line. You know what a chop line is?
Yeah.
Pow!
Yeah,
all of us.
Do it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Really?
Let's go.
All right. There we go. Johnny Amen. Ow! Okay. Happy birthday, brother. But you get it from everybody. But you come and tell an old school guy that? Oh, yeah, don't do that, because I will chop you, and I will make everybody else chop you.
So back in December, the show we had for Empire
Yes.
was the day before my birthday.
Oh, so you deserve that chop.
And I didn't tell anybody
Good man.
that it was my birthday, because I'd seen the chop lines.
Yes.
And I knew I didn't want 30 people going through chopping me.
Absolutely. It hurts. There's no way to fake a chop, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way. It hurts. It all hurts. Wrestling hurts. You just got to be tough. But don't tell me it's your birthday or you'll be in the chop line.
Yeah. And Jack Tallis was here that night.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to get
No.
a chop from Jack. Me and Jack were in a locker room somewhere else, and then somebody came up and said it was his birthday, and I chopped the guy. And I said, okay, Jack, chop the guy. He goes, I can't do that hard. I said, because you'll kill the guy. You're so big. I said, but I'm chopping him, you know. So
one of the other shows that I've been able to watch Jack at, besides the NWA, is there's a Boca Raton Championship Wrestling out of Florida.
yeah.
And the promoter there takes a lot of the people on the Jericho Cruise. In the Jericho Cruise group, they had a video where this
Hi,
guy,
Chris.
this guy was getting chopped by all the wrestlers, and Jack takes him, he chops him, boom, guy goes right into the pool.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that. Yeah, that's what happens when you get chopped by a 7'1" guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could kill you. He's so big, you know. So if my chop hurts, his chop is killer
Yes.
for sure.
So, another person that, if you go to his YouTube, which go ahead and plug your YouTube channel right now.
Stepstool Tommy D, D-E-E, Stepstool, one word. Yes, I know Stepstool is actually 2 words in the dictionary, but it's my name. Stepstool Tommy D-E-E. And that's everywhere. You can find me everywhere at Stepstool Tommy D.
So, after you finish watching this, go on over to his YouTube channel, and you have a video on there of you and Danny Hodge
Yes.
over in Japan. If I'm remembering right, it's at the Tokyo Dome, correct?
No, this was at the Sumo Palace.
Okay.
And the Japanese name, I can't remember what it's called, but it's where they do the sumo. And it's very famous for sumo and for wrestling at the same time. We did 3 shows there, and 3 shows in 2 nights, and we were there 5 days. So I'm very lucky. I knew Danny Hodge for 30 years, man. He's a legend. I used to handle his business, his bookings, and I protected him from people. And he was family to me. His wife was family to me, and she would call me to look at contracts for him, and I'd look out for him. And I had the opportunity to go to Japan with him. We got booked from Johnny Laurinaitis at WWE back in the day, and I was very, very lucky to be able to go there with Danny Hodge. Okay, and there's Danny Hodge stories that nobody knows about. You had to be in Japan. Okay, he was Elvis. He was Elvis, and he was in his 80s. Okay, he didn't wrestle there since 1968, the year I was born. Okay, and he was still Elvis out there. We worked with a lot of superstars, but Danny had the longest line, the longest people. And he hadn't wrestled there since '68. I was shocked. Okay, so we do the show, and they call him Haji, Danny Haji, and I'm like, and they kept saying that, and I pulled Danny aside and I go, Danny, you never told these people that the E is silent in America? Your name is Hodge? He goes, no, I never did, never ever, right? So. There was a sports reporter that was with us at the time. He's a good friend now. I met him on that day, and he pulled me aside, and he had overheard us, and he said, "Stepstool Tommy D, is that not his name?" And I said, "No, that's his name, but the E is silent in America." I said, "But all these years he didn't tell you guys, and you guys are chanting Haji, Haji." You didn't know that unless you were there with him. He never told me that, never told anybody that. And so just amazing things of history that people just don't even know. You had to be there, you know.
Yeah, stuff like that's really interesting to me, because like, I never got to meet Danny Hodge.
Oh man!
But I know
what a
he was
great guy.
able to just crush an apple in his hand.
Oh
and
my gosh!
I've seen video of him do it. I believe it's in the Oklahoma State House of Representatives chambers, and just crush it there.
Yes.
I
I was
forgot
there. I was there.
Were you?
I was there. Yes. We were there that day.
Do you remember why he was doing that?
I do. Back in those days, in around '97, we had a problem with the boxing commission back then, and I've also been in the legal business. I'm paralegal for over 30 years. So I took up the fight, and I brought Danny helped me out, and at that time those guys in Congress, Danny was their all-time hero, and so because we went around and talked to everybody about this boxing commission problem that we had with wrestling. They offered him, they said, can you come and speak in the Congress, which if you're not elected, it's very, very rare that anybody, and of course they wanted him to do the apple. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, Danny, go do it. And he had a ball. He talked for a little bit, and then he did the apple, and it was great. And so we eventually won. It took 2 years to fight these guys, but Danny was there the whole time, and he was their hero. And it was so great. We got to meet the governor. I had 2 pictures with the governor, lieutenant governor back then, and took tours of their offices. And because Danny was a superstar. He is a superstar. He's a legend, man. Legends never die, and I miss you, Danny. I miss you, Danny and Dolores. Absolutely. They were personal friends, and they were family.
Yeah, and
the greatest of all time. And today, everywhere I go, they say Danny Hodge is the greatest of all time, and I agree.
One of those big names like Will Rogers just come out of Oklahoma. There's never going to be another one of them.
No, never.
And I don't know if any person can reach those same heights as like what Hodge did.
No.
And if I remember right, his career, like his big on the top career, wasn't very long before he got into that wreck.
Yeah, right. You want to hear that story? Because I know. I mean, personally, I know all those personal stories. He's told me over and over again.
Yeah.
You want to know about the car wreck that he had?
Yeah.
He was driving, and back in the territory days, you drove to the next town everywhere, and you're tired. Lots of famous wrestlers died in car accidents. So Danny, I believe it was Louisiana, was driving from one town to the next, and it was the middle of the night, and he was telling, this is the story straight from him. He fell asleep driving because he was tired, and he went off the road, and he said next thing he knew, he woke up underwater, and he told me he heard a voice in his head that said, hold your neck. Okay, so he grabbed his neck and he held it, and then he swam to the top. When they rescued him and he went to the hospital, the doctors said if your neck would have moved at half an inch, you would be paralyzed right now. Okay, so divine intervention. So God told him in his head to hold his neck, or he would have been paralyzed. All right, so thank God he wasn't paralyzed, but it did end his career, and I believe that was about 1977 is when that happened.
Okay, I was thinking it was earlier, but again, it's one of those things where it's hard to find some of that stuff.
Yeah. That's firsthand story straight from Danny, so. And probably a lot of people don't know these stories because they didn't know him personally, and I did. So that's awesome that you asked that question, and now everybody knows,
It's like we were talking earlier, some of the stuff from like the territory days, or I think you said like 95 through 2004 or something like that for Oklahoma wrestling. There's nothing.
Yeah, we didn't keep records. We didn't think it would matter 20 years later. I thought my whole career would matter 20 years later. Didn't keep records of anything, didn't keep posters, didn't keep flyers, didn't keep the matches that I did. And so there's got to be thousands and thousands and thousands of matches that I did. And I don't have a record of it, and nobody else does, so they don't report those. So
Yeah, and
the one they do report is in 2005. I became, and many people don't know this, I became the Mid-South heavyweight champion. 5'2", I became the champion in a 6-man tag. Okay, and what happened was, I won the match. I became the champion, but I managed different guys, and I gave it to my guy, and then he became the champion. So technically, I never lost the title. Technically, I never ever, because I just gave it to my guy.
I mean, that didn't work for Andre when DiBiase did it.
Yeah, right, right.
You were talking about like you guys didn't record your stuff. You didn't keep records. Not like Chris Jericho. I mean, what brilliant thing. He kept his matches, win-loss, all that, and he turned it into a book and he sold thousands of copies, you know?
I know. It's amazing. Amazing. I wish I would have done it now.
You can clarify something for me. I've always heard like it was faux pas to like get photos or autographs with the guys that you worked with.
Yes. Yeah. I don't have many photographs with I have all the matches, and there was a lot of matches I worked with Honky, with him and then against him at the same time. Like I told you a story earlier, I have one photo of me and him together, and you got to remember, back in the day there was no cell phones, and video was expensive, very, very expensive to shoot this stuff. We did a lot of television, you know, but who knows where those tapes are. But everybody nowadays has a camera right in their pocket. It's so different today, and it's so much more fun at the same time. Yeah, so there's not a lot of pictures, and now I look back and go, oh, I wish I had all those pictures. You know, there's a few videos and a few pictures, but not many. Then you got to remember kayfabe. Let's talk about kayfabe for a minute. Back in the day, and I was always a heel as Step Stool Tommy D, and during that period of total kayfabe, I couldn't take a picture, even if you wanted a picture. I couldn't talk to you, and I couldn't sign an autograph because I'm a heel. I'm a bad guy. We didn't do that. Okay, so wrestling has evolved now, even 20 years later, and let me tell you, you old school guys like me, but you're older than me. You guys broke kayfabe with Tales of the Dark Side and the Territories. You guys who would kick your ass if you broke kayfabe, these guys broke it. So I feel fine with it. I feel fine with it now. Okay.
Right. And in a way, kayfabe almost had to die.
Yes.
With the new emergence of like the internet and everyone having phones and stuff.
Yeah, it's different.
To where now if you try to pull that stuff, like you're gonna not go very far.
You're right. The internet is amazing. Of course, we didn't have the internet back in those days, so it was flyers and word of mouth and TV commercials and radio commercials and stuff like that. Totally different world today. Totally different world. Now I'm worldwide, and just from the internet, and I'm shocked and amazed on how unbelievably awesome it is. So you guys get on there and market, and promote. I promote just about 24/7, and it's working, and it's worked. And I didn't know this stuff before. I just learned this stuff in the last 6 months, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked at the numbers. I'm shocked at the reach. I'm shocked at the calls I get from all over the world and the friends all over the world. It's a different world today, and this makes pro wrestling and entertaining even more fun now. It's way more funner than it was in the old days, because now I can talk to you, right? And
like you can be like, oh, hey, this is a cool promo idea. Let me just record it right now off my phone.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
I obviously don't cut promos because if I'm on camera, it's commentary, not anything. But like, had a fan interaction on our Facebook And they just did not get that this person was not in a match.
Right.
And I just thought, all right, if I'm cutting a promo on that person, I'm like, of course it would have to be a heel promo. I'd be like, look, you're stupid, your tag partner's stupid, and your fans are stupid at that. There ain't no way you're going to be able to do, and then just kind of divert it into like the main topic, you know?
Yeah, no, it's much easier today though, because you can do that. And I don't normally do promos on video on cell phones, you know, and I prefer professional equipment, but I did one the other day on, you know, on my cell, and it was pretty good. You just posted it today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we talked about stuff that's going on here and at Empire Pro Wrestling, and back in the day you just couldn't do that stuff. You had to have, you know, professional, and it was expensive back then. So this is so great that we can do this stuff now, and we can reach so many people in one shot, and it's just a different world.
I mean, professional equipment's still expensive today.
Oh my God.
So many people do it on phones.
Yeah, right.
Because I would love to have a camera, but I'm not able to drop that $4,000 for the one I want.
I'm with you. And the quality of our cameras and the quality of everything else is fantastic. I mean, you can't beat it. And it's just a different world in the wrestling world. So a lot of the veterans call me, and they're like, "Oh, we thought you retired." I said, "No, I didn't retire. You know, I never announced retirement." But wrestling is totally different today. Promoting is totally different today, and I'm having fun. I'm having a blast with all you guys, you know, and I'm shocked that anybody even remembered me from the old days. I thought I was starting over. I really did, and that's probably the most shocking part. What we did 20, 30 years ago, 36 years ago in my case, I didn't think anybody would remember. I didn't think it mattered 20 years later because we didn't have the internet. And I come to find out it does matter, and people knew, and people call me all the time and ask me questions, and I'm just in shock, in awe, and it's unbelievable.
I mean, just like you said earlier, Danny Hodge hadn't wrestled in Japan, but they still remembered him.
Oh my God, he was Elvis.
We have those generational fans, the people that their parents grew up watching wrestling,
right,
and taught their kids. Like, a lot of my knowledge from the territories is because my dad was a wrestling fan. He used to go to I can't even remember what it's called there in Tulsa, the fairgrounds.
Yeah, the fairgrounds,
the pavilion or whatever it is. He used to go there with his mom and his siblings and watch wrestling.
Right.
And then he got into it a little, and he knew a few of those people, and he's told me about those people. He's told me about like McGirt and all them. So that's how people remember, is their parents says, "Oh, hey, I remember this guy."
That's right. Leroy McGurk is who he's talking about, who had Mid-South Wrestling before Cowboy Bill Watts.
Yeah.
And hello, Mike, daughter Mike. She was in WWE. She was the ring announcer in the 80s, and she's still a friend. So,
well, as you mentioned earlier, it's show day. It's getting close to that bell time.
Yes, sir.
I like to let the guests have the final say. So how about you go ahead and close this out for this episode of Around the Coliseum?
Wow, you're giving me the full camera for the full promo? Really? Well, I'll tell you what. And I'm known as the biggest manager in the history of pro wrestling. 5'2", I carry a step stool, I always have. What the hell am I gonna do? But you know what? It doesn't matter. All my experience, we'll figure out a way. I don't care how big you are. You don't know what I know. You have no idea. I'll figure out something. I want to thank you, Johnny Amen. I want to thank you, brother. This has been fun. It's been wonderful. And the fans know a little bit more on Step Stool Tommy D 2.0 because they remember the step stool, but I was fat. I was fat, chubby, right? And now, at 57 years old, let me tell you, I'm no longer fat and chubby. And I have a six-pack at 57 years old. So everybody, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. At 57 years old, I'm a professional athlete. Get your body in shape. Get your discipline down. Mind, body, and spirit. And do that discipline every single day. And one day you'll grow up to look just like me.